All right, I think we're ready to get started. Thank you all for joining us today, this good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you are. And I'm Lori Bush-Shepard. I'm Vice President of Marketing at Mobify, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our discussion today on deconstructing the data on holiday shopping 2017. Our panelists today are Lauren Friedman and Amanda Nasso. Lauren is the Senior Vice President of Digital Strategy for Astound Commerce, and she runs the Astound Insights program encompassing thought leadership and consumer experience research. She's a subject matter expert in omni-channel retail with 24 years of digital consulting experience. She was previously the founder and president of the e-tailing group. She's helped Fortune 500 and mid-market clients on their retail strategy and produces mystery shopping research based on the 20-year proven proprietary methodology and the Astound Insights retail tools. I think you'll find Lauren to be an innovative industry thought leader. Amanda Nasso is the Senior Manager of Business Intelligence at Mobify. She manages the Insights team, which is a multidisciplinary team of data analysts and user experience researchers. She's a master at turning raw data into understandable, actionable insights, both for retailers at large and for Mobify's customers and internal teams. Every quarter, she looks at the trends in the e-commerce industry to help retailers fine-tune their strategies. And I'm Lori Bush-Shepard, VP of Marketing at Mobify, and I'll be your host today. Just a couple of housekeeping details before we get started. This webinar is being recorded, and you will get a link via email to the on-demand playback, and we really encourage you to share it with your colleagues. Also, we will follow the presentation with a Q&A period. We've received a few questions in advance, but also encourage you to submit your questions throughout the presentation. You can do that using the Q&A tab on your webinar console. So to get us started, obviously, a successful year in retail for most retailers hinges on a successful holiday shopping season. The first step to getting ready for holiday shopping 2018 is identifying learnings from last year. So Mobify is teaming up with Astound Commerce to dig into that holiday 2017 data. Astound Commerce researched 25 top retailers, stacking up their mobile web and app experiences across over 100 metrics. Today, Lauren will reveal the top performing retailers along with tactics that powered those shopping experiences. And then Amanda will share real user data from Q4 2017 to reveal trends and opportunities to take advantage of in 2018. Then we'll follow with a Q&A session. So with that, I will hand it over to Lauren to walk us through her Astound Holiday 25 research. Take it away, Lauren.
Thanks, Lori, and it's been a pleasure to work with you guys, and I'm happy to be here. Always good to talk about the holidays and what's happening. So let's go ahead and dig in. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Astound, we're a global digital agency. We're based in San Francisco. We've got the full suite from technology to creativity, consulting, and thought leadership, 600 folks worldwide, lots of iconic brands delivered, launched in over 50 countries. So again, if there's anything more you would like to know, feel free to reach out to me at the end of the call. So we all know mobile matters, and you can't pick up the phone and talk to a retailer or say that you're going to do a competitive benchmarking and then they'll tell you, 50% of our business is now coming from mobile. So we all know that mobile is significant in terms of the contribution it's making to e-commerce. We looked at 25 retailers, as Lori mentioned. We stacked up the mobile web and the app for the 23 that had it. And what we did is we built 5 calculators. They're each built on a 5-point scale so that we could really measure and assess how each of these folks were performing. And actually, when it comes to, talking about who we picked, we were very much focused on, this is a world we all live in now. It's basically us against Amazon in a lot of ways. So it's really critical that retailers succeed and really differentiate. So what we did is we looked at the approaches they took, the similarities, the differences, because we know that mobile is going to be the driving force not only now, but going forward. So you can get a quick look at the 25 retailers that we picked. There were 24 store-based retailers plus QVC. And, it's a little bit of an A to Z, in this case, maybe an A to W. But we tried to look at a range of folks whose businesses were critical or that the contribution their category would make to the holiday season would be significant. So in terms of performance, what you can see is that basically American Eagle came out on top when it came time to the mobile web. The average score so it's basically a 16.20 out of 25 for the 5 calculators. They came in at 21.5. You can look and see that basically, if you know this brand, my daughter's, 16 years old, and it's a very important brand for for her segment. And I might ask it, we probably need to mute on the other end, just because I think if someone has it on, that would be great. So what you find out is that they have wonderful, powerful visuals, a lot of great tactics from their gift guide to their favorites list. They tend to be very savvy in terms of not only promoting what's on sale, but also encouraging you to buy what's new, because when it comes to the new, they know that the contribution from a margin perspective will be great. Other top performers, the other 4 that made up the top 5 from a mobile web, were Ulta Beauty, Macy's, Nordstrom's, and Urban Outfitters. So how did things fare when it came to the app? When it came to the app, what we saw is that Macy's came in at number 1. The average score was slightly lower at 14.54. They came in at a 19. They, as they have always done on the desktop, made gifting a priority, gifts by price, gifts by gender. You'll also see that they, highlight their gift card, their Gift Now capability, something a little bit newer in that space. And then, of course, their omni-channel rounds out the options with the free pickup in store. So again, they are using, the app, I think, like many other of these retailers, to really make that connection between the channels. In terms of other top performers here, you see Sephora, Home Depot, Victoria's Secret, and American Eagle, makes the top 5 list in both. So what were the 5 keys to mobile excellence? So what we tried to do is, first we said to ourselves, how inspiring is the content? Because you get on your phone, it's a drive-by, you're looking really quickly, and you're thinking, was I inspired by that content, and am I going to move forward? Inspiring shoppers is a baseline requirement, regardless of the app or the mobile web. And of course, branding is the first step in this. And so for many of the retailers that we're looking at, branding is entrenched in their business already. Retailers pick and choose the merchandising tactics with what's new, gifting, and top sellers in play. Visual execution, at least from our perspective, was stronger on the mobile web, which is seen in the blue here, and versus the mobile app at 3.20. So what's new? Almost a universal feature, somewhat less at 78% on the app. Trending now, about half of the folks had that, feature, 30% on the app, and top sellers a little bit closer in terms of, which of these platforms were offering that. So let's look at some examples. It's like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Retailers invest in merchandising and branding for complete customer experience. We all know about Target and the visuals that they bring forward. And you can see that, in this case with visual engagement, very, very strong, a little bit stronger what we found in terms of the app, the branding, at the top score for both. It's about in the 2.3, 2.45 range for the branding execution across the board in the visual engagement. So again, they mostly were inspiring, and they mostly had the branding that the customer has come to expect. Loyalty programs reward brand enthusiasts, fostering retention. So again, almost even here, but apps being a little bit stronger because we see a lot of that loyal customer, I think, really taking to the app. Couple examples here. In the middle, you've got Michael's, you've got the rewards. If you're a Michael's shopper or a Joanne shopper, you know that there's always coupons in line when you go there. My daughter happens to like to get fabric there, and so I know that I can always go online and take advantage of that. So it's all about the execution and the offers and the visual dynamics related to that. And if you go to Urban Outfitters, same type of thing, you'll hear at the counter, they'll say to you, do you have the app? If you don't, we'll give you 10% on your first purchase if you download that. So again, making that, connection is critical. So in terms of the stats, the merchandising tactics were abundant, with mobile really leading the charge, mobile web. And so you can kind of see it slant down and, where the features are made available. So again, these are choices that retailers are making. So something to be thinking about as you make those choices for your business. Promotions lead merchandising inspiration. It's a promotional world we're all living in, hard to get around that. Not only does Victoria's Secret is very inspiring and is known for their photography, but they're also known for their promotions, not only, online, but we also see them offline in a big way. So again, here you've got your gift with purchases, buy two, get one free, the triple play, tying to their bonus points. So you name it, they've got a promotion tied to it. An item and an athlete-driven approach finds appeal among Nike aficionados. So if I'm coming to Nike and I already own 16 pair of Nike shoes, I might want to know about that fall feature for snakeskin shoes or their exclusives that they have, because if I find that product, no need to look around. I might want to talk to, Madison Keys, one of their star athletes, or, see what's happening for cold weather gear, at least for where I live in Chicago. Again, reinforcing their designing, their Nike ID design capability. So all of this leads to quite an inspiring experience. You'll also take note that we've shaded the app. So if you get a copy of the presentation, we've shaded which platform each of the examples come from. Integrated merchandising at every juncture of the mobile experience is opportunistic, just as it is on the desktop. So here what you see from Gap is what's new, also found on almost 100% of the web folks, more new arrivals, and then at the right-hand side, you'll see things like Two Dancers and Prancers, playing up on themed areas that retailers are so great at convincing us that we can't live without these products. Shoppers look to retailers to curate their collection, and that curation takes place in one form of that is really trending now. What is it that you need to have? What can't you live without? Macy's reminds us of their fashion's front row. We see in the middle, just now in trending product, as well as on the right from Sephora, who also does a great job of kind of, there's a lot of beauty lovers that, this site is first and foremost what they're interested in. And I tell a lot of stories about my daughter, but again, this is a site she frequents all the time. She wants to know what the new products are, what the editor's picks are. So she takes advantage of that, and, they do a good job of showing us those key items. The point of view of peers is powerful. We all know the role of that. I'm surprised the percentage is so low in terms of showcasing some of the top-rated products that you see here on QVC. Maybe a missed opportunity, actually. Seasonal promotions and the perennial free shipping drive significant revenue throughout the year. I know last year, I haven't seen the final number for this year, it was something like 60% of the orders had free shipping tied to them. It's the #1 reason we see in all our research, why people choose to shop online and select the merchant that they do. So 3 interesting takes on this. From a seasonal perspective, you see Kohl's introducing, their Kohl's Cash, promo savings take 15% off, today's deals. Dick's in the middle, the wait is over, Black Friday deals, Cyber Week, it's sort of like they can't get enough of them. They're also letting you know about free shipping, no minimum purchase. And Nordstrom, who's long had free shipping and free returns, reinforces that as part of their overall experience, kind of overlaid with the fall sale that you see on the site. Incentivize shoppers in the hopes of driving loyalty. So here again, I talked a little bit about that at Urban Outfitters a little bit earlier, having that SMS sign up on the app, 22%, and again, a promotion, 26% of those people. So the opportunity to encourage and to get folks using that is powerful. And I think Gap does a nice job with their treatment, like Lex Text. They visualize that. Some people are hiding it more, so it may not be as effective in terms of gaining those signups that you're looking to see. Timely app promotions power purchasing. So here you've got those in-app push notifications, whether you're at the store, or, I got 3 in the last hour. If there's a store that I'm interested, that might get my attention. So you see American Eagle, telling you to turn that on, as well as a message from QVC, to get in time for Christmas. So that looks a little bit at the inspirational aspect. The second key that we look at is how rich is the content. And for us, this is, all about category-driven content. The content is streamlined on the app. We see a lot of people not putting in all of this content, as our feeling here is that the shoppers are on a mission to buy. The app-only content is smartly used by savvy retailers as a value add. So we saw 56% of the web, mobile web had blogs versus 30% on the app. Video's a little bit tighter at an 84 and 61. Again, the blue being the web and the aqua being the app. And guides about 2 to 1, and I think you know, it's like, is someone going to spend the time to be reading it in this environment? And I think that's really the choice. So 2.44 on the web to a 1.78 on the app. So let's look at some examples here. Piggybacking on what probably already existed on the desktop, foster decision-making with rich information that guides the shopper. So again, 64% on the web. You see this example from Victoria's Secret with their Fit Finder for their bras and a laptop buying guide that you see from Amazon. So taking advantage of what you've already created and putting it into a new environment. Shoppers have come to expect creative content where retailers can present their products and use through demonstration and education. The power of video, and certainly to me that's something you see a lot of people looking at on their devices. So you see Urban Outfitter kind of playing up home for the holidays and what that means to them. In the middle you see, you see that kind of taking off and what they're showing. And Best Buy that's really taking it from the product page level, really looking at what are some of the features and functionality and how to prep for, delivery and how to use the refrigerator. So again, kind of narrow casting that, but being very, very effective for the shopper. You can just imagine someone in their kitchen trying to put these things together. The try-on factor improves buying chances. So augmented reality, while a low number on the web, higher number on the app, I think this is very, very powerful when executed well. So we're showing both beauty examples, one from Sephora on the left and one from Ulta on the right. Again, the ability to try on the makeup, to put your colors on, or the Glam Lab that you see at Ulta, using a selfie, picking the model. So this is very appealing, particularly to that audience. Category adoption of augmented reality is also powerful for other markets. In particular, we saw some interesting things in the home space. So you see this example from Amazon, with the, being able to see this chair in the room environment. At Home Depot, being able to see this in your home, and the power of that to really, help a customer make a decision without potentially even making a trip to the store is very exciting for the retailer as well as for the shopper. Blogs inspire shoppers leveraging targeted and innovative content to bring another dimension to digital shopping. So here you see Bed Bath & Beyond, your move, we've got your back, how are we handling it? You can get 20% offers off of that, but they integrate it nicely with a series of topics, and that hopefully one of those will resonate with you as you're making these choices. Those who embrace social appreciate seeing how shoppers use products in their everyday life. So back to some of the peer things that I touched on before, share how you wear this Gap product. People are more interested in a lot of times what their friends are wearing, what they do, versus seeing maybe what the retailer's point of view is. So both Gap as well as Urban Outfitters really kind of extend that and, bring the visual to life based on what other shoppers are doing. So now that we've covered the rich content and the inspiring, we'll look at a little bit on efficient. And of course, how efficient is the overall experience? I mean, the number one reason why people are shopping online, all the years that I've looked at the research, is always time is number one and price is number two. Efficiency demands are seen as important, but not universally addressed. The mobile web wins on its search and navigation strength, while apps are all about checkout efficiency and a race to the buy button. So that's kind of what we see here. Scores are very parallel, but the number of clicks from the category to the main product is a little bit higher on the app at 3.39 versus 2.98, just under 3. The average number of clicks to checkout is less on the app at 2.74. And the one-click checkout is pretty much, I think, on par when you look at the numbers there in terms of that really leads to the efficiency of being able to check out fast. Mobile web delivers navigational access while the apps are not always as accommodating. So here you kind of see that we're showing this Target example that sometimes you get onto some of these sites and on the app you're not able to navigate between different aspects of the site. You can't quickly get back to what you want to. Search efficiencies are on par, though app navigational efficiency can be a little bit challenging. So here's an example from Apple, very, very quickly, obviously a much narrower SKU base than you might see in some of the larger big box folks, but you're quickly into the watch, into the product, buy. And I think, That's certainly the ultimate goal. Given the seasoned nature of most of the retailers that we looked at, their search relevancy is very, very high, and that didn't surprise us at all. The ability to refine searches and sorts based on personal needs is paramount, and the good news is that's mostly in place. So a couple examples from Barnes & Noble, obviously bestsellers are critical to their business, whereas on something like Dick's, I might be interested in the activity or the jacket type or the temperature. So a much more robust set of filtering is being tied to that shopping experience. Visual search inspires and accelerates the process. So here, while again, low numbers, it's still very powerful when it's taking place. So here you see this example with, the shirts being shown very, very quickly on American Eagle, and then being able to see the views pop up. And it's a lot quicker. And also what tends to happen in sites like this is the customer recognizes the product and they don't have to, go through the search and sort process. Express checkout is in favor among shoppers. We talked about some of the numbers before, but you see the speed buy on QVC. You also see on Macy's the ability to have the Touch ID. 26% of the retailer app folks had that. So again, very, very important. And we'll touch a little bit on the mobile wallet a little bit ahead. Apps can deliver a quicker checkout experience. Again, you see here on Toys R Us, very, very quickly through this process for the shopper. Everything's pre-populated. You have the information. You can quickly place the order. 2 clicks and you're done. Housing all of the shopper's vital profile and coupon-related information is the ultimate inconvenience. And as I mentioned, the wallet, I think Kohl's does a great job of talking about this. In fact, even the Apple representative, she gave this presentation at NRF, and the same type of functionality was shown. So if you're this Kohl's customer, you want your wallet, you want all your promotions, you have them all in one place. And Gap, too, does a nice job with their credit card and their points, and all your rewards, one-stop shopping for the customer. So speaking of taking good care of the customer, how service-oriented is the retailer? Service is stripped out of the app from depth of content to accessibility, making it challenging to find the right information to support shopper needs. So again, you can see there's a huge difference in this one at 3.25 on the mobile web to 2.48. 92% of the web had, dedicated customer service area or FAQs page. 33% had that click to call button to quickly get a hold of folks. Only 14% on the app, so a bit of a disappointment. And again, the clicks from the home page to customer service were, a big difference between, almost 1.5 to 2. So making this information available to people in an accessible way is really something that I think more retailers really need to think about. Service should be in keeping with the brand promise. So there's an expectation when you go to Nordstrom, they're going to take care of you. So how is that reinforced on their mobile experience? And it's done very well. Same with Amazon. We all know about the efficiency and, certainly the volume of business that was done over the holiday season. So in terms of customer service efficiencies, we look at this example from Dick's where you have easy access to the phone number in the footer. So we encourage that and would like to see more of that, from more retailers. It's critical to assess contact methods that can be well supported. So you get a sense very quickly that, most retailers email and chat on their site. Some of it, unfortunately, we find that the chat always doesn't deploy as well as it should, but a few people using tweeting, Facebook, and, the ability to direct message. So both Barnes & Noble and as well as QVC do a nice job of providing icon treatments to, give that customer the access that they're looking for. So lastly, how omni-channel is the retailer? And of course, the goal for a lot of retailers is to be omni-channel and to provide that seamless experience. So omni-channel assumes a critical role as one of mobile's primary functions is connecting shoppers to the stores. Brand enthusiasts likely embrace the apps with a focus on loyalty and a personalization of the experience. We've touched on both of those today already. So you can see 1/3 of the folks allow for scheduling of in-store appointments. 88%, almost the majority, have product locators, and a small percentage have ship to store, but a higher percentage certainly have, the ability to, have it pulled from the store. Localization is a shopper mandate and a convenience. You see almost half the people have that information, making it very easy for the shopper to find if you have it, where it's available, and the details about that particular store. Product and store-specific information ensures shopping trips are successful. So again, very common. You see in both of these examples, one from Apple on the left, it tells me how far away it is. I've got the phone number, I've got the store hours. Crate and Barrel takes it a step farther where, their ability to ship and have it ready or pick it up in the store and the multiple locations where that's available are there for me. For me, I live in the city, and so I live within, 10 miles of 3 of their stores. So I might make a choice depending on, what I have on my agenda that day. Offer up a range of delivery options, so whether it be American Eagle, where they reinforce their reserve program, observe, try, buy, or Dick's, where, free and fast in-store pickup. So again, putting that front and center, because that's a differentiation for a store-based retailer. In-store visits should be supported by an array of search capabilities, so whether it be the scanning or the ability to product search or snap and shop, all those capabilities we're starting to see more of on more of the sites. So I am going to just kind of buzz through these really quickly. So just be thinking, what should be on your mobile must-do list? Say to yourself how inspiring it is. Is your merchandising effective from the homepage and integrated throughout the shopping experience? Have you consistently branded it and, kind of taken that to the greatest level that you can? How rich is the content? Are you making the right choices about what content should be in each of these locations? And do you have, merchant-centric information when they arrive there? Is it fast? Can you navigate quickly throughout the site? Is voice search, is on the horizon? And can you store product information, mobile wallet, to make it easy for the shopper to do business with you? Are you taking good care of the customer? Do you have a clear path to get to customer service information? And do you have the contact options that allow the customers the choices that they want? And to wrap it up, from an omni-channel perspective, do you have the services in play to, take care of that busy shopper, and is it localized? And are you embracing the delivery options that the customers have come to expect today? So I thank you for listening, and, certainly, paying attention to mobile will be critical. So I'm excited now. I'm going to hand things over to Amanda, who's going to talk about how these tactics have performed over the holidays, and she's going to dig into some of the real user data from Q4.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. So as Lauren was saying, we're going to look at what happened during Q4 from our real user data. And just to give you some background, Mobilify is a front-end experience layer with built-in integrations for really any e-commerce system. We deliver those experiences through progressive web applications as well as accelerated mobile pages. So what my team does, I lead the insights team here. We collect data on all these e-commerce sites so that we can really analyze it to optimize the front end, as well as look at the trends across our customers like we are today, to really lead the space in our expertise of what's going on in mobile and stay ahead of the game. So without further ado, let's take a look at what mobile traffic looked like throughout Q4. So one thing you'll notice here is we've got the Q4 average daily mobile traffic as a dotted line across to give you a bit of a baseline. The mobile traffic started to increase at the end of October. So really early shopping starting out early in the season, increasing up until the Black Friday weekend. So large gain on Black Friday, stayed high on the weekend, still high on Cyber Monday, and then that level of mobile traffic maintained its height up until around December 18th, when most people were starting to finish off their Christmas shopping. So one thing you can take away from this is it's really important to have your mobile experience well in place as early as October in order to capture all that browsing from the season. So now that we know that browsing started early, when did shoppers actually buy? So here we have mobile revenue throughout Q4, and you'll notice earlier we said browsing started as early as late October. Shoppers really waited to pull the trigger. So they the increase in revenue didn't really happen as much until Black Friday weekend. And you saw it was really high on Black Friday, stayed high in the weekend. Cyber Monday actually had more mobile revenue come through, whereas Black Friday had more mobile traffic. So a bit of a switch there. And then revenue stayed high up until Christmas, getting low around December 18th again. So a takeaway here is you need that mobile experience in place by October, and to have your mobile ad spend really concentrated after that time up until around the 18th. Really important. So one thing you can see is Black Friday weekend, obviously crucial for retailers. So let's take a focus into that to look at what happened year over year on Black Friday and cutting it up by day. So here we have on the left, we've got the change in traffic from the 2017 holiday season compared to 2016 holiday season. And we've broken it up by day. So you'll notice that desktop red there saw a decrease in traffic really every day of the week except for Cyber Monday, the last one there. It was pretty much the same as the year before. Whereas mobile saw huge gains in traffic each day of the week. And you can look at Wednesday as more of a normal day in Q4 leading up to the Black Friday weekend there. So a lot of people shifting over to mobile, really making that shift. So that's traffic. What did it look like in terms of revenue? Really same story, but even more pronounced. So for most retailers, you saw, this is actually median retailers. So we'll take a look, breaking it up by quartiles later, but seeing real decreases in desktop revenue each day of the week, except for Cyber Monday right at the end, and increases across mobile each day of the week. We'll zoom in one more time, looking at, okay, what time of day were retailers really seeing the most mobile traffic? So I've got the rainbow spaghetti here for you. On the left, we've got the share of sessions that were coming from mobile, and notice the axis doesn't start at 0 there. So zoomed in, and looking at the x-axis, what was the time of day for the shopper? So you can see that some times of day are more mobile heavy than others. If we start with Wednesday, the red there, you'll notice that's more of a regular work day, and that's typical for a work day. So you see more mobile traffic, the percentage being much heavier in the morning as people are getting ready to work, waking up, and then commuting. During the work hours, that red line dips while people are at work. They might switch over to desktop. And then when they commute back home and when they have the choice, they switch back to their mobile phones. That was the Wednesday. If we look at Thursday, so that's Thanksgiving, the blue one, we see we don't have that big dip during the day where people are at work. And the same goes for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday when people were back to work, we saw that dip again. Really important to note there, over 60% of traffic there in that circled area was coming from mobile in the morning during those days. So it's really important to employ some tactics that really get you to the front of shoppers' mailboxes. So to opt in for less noisy channels, like say web push notifications, those are messages that appear on the lock screen just like a text message so that you can catch those shoppers first thing in the morning when they're waking up, and also catch them again when they're coming home from work after the commute. Okay, great. So that was what it looked like in 2017. And then really, what did it look like compared to the year before? No twist ending here. We had, if we look on the left, the change in traffic, 2017 Q4 versus 2016 Q4. And on the right, we've got the change in revenue. So in both cases, we saw slight declines in desktop. This is for the median. So half of retailers had numbers lower than this, and half of them had numbers higher than this. And huge gains on revenue on the right on mobile as well. So not only were more people choosing to browse and look at products on mobile, they were actually buying a lot more on mobile as well. So that, like I said, this is for the median shopper. Let's zoom in a bit to see more what the distribution looked like. So the graph on the left here, the change in traffic. If we zoom in, that's the same one here in the center here, looking at the median. And then we can look at it by quartile. So if we look at the left graph there, this is the bottom 25%, so 25th percentile. We'll see that 25% of retailers saw more than a 14% decline in mobile traffic. And even though they were seeing that decline in in desktop traffic rather, even though they were seeing that decline in desktop traffic and tablet traffic, they were still seeing increases in mobile traffic. So that's really cool to see. Ones that weren't doing as well still had that light at the end of the tunnel, seeing that, well, something is increasing here. Median, we looked at already. And then on the right, if we look at that graph, we've got the leaders there. So these are the retailers, the 75th percentile, ones that had increases in desktop, increases in tablet. When that was the case, their increases in mobile were even more than that. So again, that's 25% of retailers saw more than a 34% increase in mobile traffic. So really great gains there for the winners. So something that you can take away from this is you can go back and look at what did your 2017 Q4 look like compared to 2016, and where did you fall here? Were you one of the laggards, the leaders, or somewhere in the middle? And then finally, we can look at not just sessions, but also revenue. So what's this look like for revenue? Very similar story, even more pronounced. So we looked at the median previously. If we look at the left, you'll see that 25% of retailers saw more than a 13% decline in desktop. So really a dying device type for a lot of retailers. Even when that's the case, mobile, people were buying 12% more on mobile. And then in the leaders on the right, ones that were gaining across the board in revenue on desktop, tablet, and mobile was still the clear winner. So 25% of retailers saw more than a 44% increase in their mobile revenue, which is very impressive. Finally, I wanted to talk about conversion rate for a moment. So conversion rate is something that it's really the most popular KPI for retailers. And we can see, focus on mobile here, not only did we see that mobile traffic was increasing, so a lot more users coming in from mobile on sites, but they were also spending more per session. So that's really cool to see. It wasn't just being diluted, getting more traffic, and they were just browsing, window shopping, not looking. They were really purchasing more on mobile, which we've seen in the gains in revenue too. I wanted to focus a bit on conversion rates, just to remind you that it's really made up of two components as a compound metric. It's a ratio. A lot of retailers will use this as their be-all, end-all, their main KPI. But remember that it's composed of both transactions and sessions. So usually when you look at making a KPI, you want to make that KPI is what you can say the business is doing well because of it. So be that revenue or orders or maybe even traffic for your business. So it's important to look at both and not just the ratio. One thing we see if you do this exercise and look at, okay, what happened to your conversion rate year over year, it's important that you look at not just the conversion rate, but also the components, the transactions and traffic. So in the control here, we have an example of a 5% conversion rate. And then these are a bunch of different scenarios where you could have an increase in your conversion rate. So you could have the same amount of traffic in A with more transactions that would increase your conversion rate. But there are also other scenarios. And it's important to note that in 3 of these, you have more transactions, which is probably what you're aiming to do. Get more orders, get more revenue in. Whereas in the last 2, you're actually not gaining any more revenue, even though you have an increase in conversion rate. In the last case there, you're actually declining across the board, though your conversion rate, if that's your KPI, might look really good. That might not be the case in the business metrics that actually matter. And the same goes for a decrease in conversion rate. Important to note, you could have the same thing happen here. These are all examples of a decrease in conversion rate, different scenarios. And usually people go, conversion rate going down, that's a bad thing. But there is a scenario where, and this is actually pretty common across retailers, mobile's growing very fast. So traffic's increasing, transactions are increasing. But if traffic's increasing at a higher rate than transactions, you'll actually see a decrease in conversion rate. Like we showed for the median retailer, that conversion rate chart earlier, we saw that for half of retailers, they were having an increase in conversion rate. But just because you have a decrease doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. So it's important to look at your holiday period year over year, to compare these different metrics. How did your revenue do? How did your transactions do? How did your conversion rate do? And see which category you fell into here. So it's a good takeaway exercise for you. So went through this really quick, but some key takeaways is that mobile is the fastest, and for a lot of retailers, it's really their only growing channel. So it's important to invest where your shoppers are. It's important to create that fast, engaging mobile experience really by October. So now is the time to start thinking about that if you haven't already. And when you're once your site is well set up in October, to really allocate your resources so that you're advertising before December 18th and using those channels that work well in the morning especially and aren't as flooded, say as email. And then when you're looking at your metrics, to really look at them individually and dig into not just what's happening overall with your conversion rate, but where are things converting better or worse, and where is the revenue really coming in, and where is the traffic really coming in. So I want to say thank you, and I'll turn it back to Lori now.
Great. Thanks so much, Lauren and Amanda. This was a really, really useful session. And in fact, I had a couple of questions that people were asking, are we going to get the slides, because there was so much information. I think that's great. So yes, absolutely. You'll be getting the slides. You'll be getting a link to the recording. Be watching for that in the next couple of days. One question that came in earlier was, how should we decide how much content to add on our mobile experiences? Lauren, you want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I really think when it comes right down to it, it starts with the brand and the way your customer shops. And you have to really know if you need that content in order to make the sale, in order to make the conversion, like Amanda mentioned, then you need to have it there. So if that decision making is really, what should be top of mind when you're thinking about it. I also think the use of icons and the way you display that content is critical in terms of optimizing the experience. So not only putting it there, but putting it in an effective way is also essential.
Great, thank you. And another one that came in earlier for Amanda, when we showed this to somebody else. So do you recommend monitoring a different metric rather than conversion rate?
I don't think it's necessarily bad to monitor conversion rate. It's important that if you're looking at conversion rate, you really segment by more. So comparing, say, conversion rate on iOS versus Android and getting even deeper than that. But really, KPIs in general should be the things that really make or break your business. So I always like to look at revenue in general. And then if you want to sort of standardize it so you can compare apples to apples, revenue per user is usually what I would look at.
Great, so revenue per user. So another one for Lauren that came in earlier, how do we balance streamlining the mobile experience while still ensuring that our brand is strong and merchandising is desirable?
I think, what you can do is you can try to refine it over time, and it's all about testing. That can help you really to prioritize what works and what your customer wants. There's times when we'll recommend to people, you should do feature A, B, and C, and they're like, we tried and it doesn't work for us, or we don't need to put a visual in. And I think the other thing you need to remember is that from that point of view is, remember that you've got to inspire the shopper. And speaking about Amanda's comments about conversion, retailers only care about the bottom line and the money that goes in the cash register. So you've got to inspire them first, or you're never going to get the conversion. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about the features and functionality and the merchandising you want to deploy.
Great, thank you. A question that came in from one of our viewers, you show growth rates by device type, but I'm assuming mobile is off a lower base, so a higher rate is not surprising. Do you have percentage of traffic and transactions for each device type? For example, what percentage of transactions are mobile now versus desktop? I guess that one's for Amanda.
Yeah, great question. I don't have a slide on that, but it definitely depends on what space you're in retail. We have some of our customers are well beyond 50% of their revenue coming from mobile, especially in the UK. I think pretty much all of our customers in the UK are over 50% mobile. Whereas some here, it depends if they're more brick and mortar, omni-channel, or if they're pure play e-commerce. So it definitely varies, but along the lines of between 30% to probably 65% off the top of my head. Everyone's getting to 50 if they're not there already.
Great, and just to tee off on that, so the data, is it based on North American retailers or a wider range?
Yeah, so for the most part, we're looking at US retailers for here. For the first couple graphs, it was global. But for all the different ones where we're looking by quartiles, that was all US based.
Great. And then we have a question for Lauren. We don't want to expose our customer service information. Is this really a must?
Well, to me, I think it's a huge mistake and a reason why many people will choose not to do business with you. It's incredibly frustrating. I mean, I was looking for something in a non-shopping thing. Actually, I was purchasing a class for my daughter, a summer class, quite expensive. And you know what? You couldn't find the phone number, and it's just like, it makes you not want to buy it in a lot of ways. So I think it's important to have that navigation, to have access to that information, and it can be a differentiator. So I think be thinking about that. It's not just about the cost component, but what you do to take care of your customer.
Great. Thank you very much. I think that's all of the questions that we have right now. So just wanted to let everybody know, just a reminder, you will be getting the slides. There will be a replay that will be sent to you in the next few days, so keep an eye out for that. We also encourage you to check out the research that was the foundation for today's presentations. So the Q4 Mobile Commerce Insights report from Mobify is available via this link, and you'll be getting that link in the follow-up email as well. And the late-breaking report from Astound is going live any day now, and you'll be receiving an email on that as well, so watch for that email. We really hope you found today's session to be informative and helpful, and thank you very much for joining us.